Right now, President Biden is meeting with members of his Homeland Security team there at the White House in the Situation Room. He is being updated on the latest in the investigation into that deadly attack in New Orleans. And this morning, members of the Louisiana congressional delegation, along with other lawmakers, received an unclassified virtual briefing as many lawmakers are on their way back to Washington. So let's bring in NewsNation's Joe Connell, who is live for us there on Capitol Hill. Joe, at this point, what are lawmakers telling you?
Well, we've spoken to two lawmakers who were actually on the call this morning with the FBI getting that 10 a.m. briefing. These are members of the House Intelligence Committee and members of the House Homeland Security Committee. What we have heard so far is effectively that there are still a lot of questions the FBI has yet to answer. And some lawmakers may be a little frustrated by that, but there are others that are certainly giving the FBI some grace and saying, look, this investigation is still very new. Obviously, what we're hearing today in terms of details is different than what we're hearing yesterday. So they were asking the same questions that, frankly, a lot of members of the public have. Things like how this could have happened without being on their radar beforehand. Things like whether the attack, the terrorist attack in New Orleans, was related to the one we saw on the other side of the country, whether those were a coincidence that they happened within hours of each other. Talk to Congressman Nichole. He's a Republican from New York, and he basically said that, again, he understands the FBI doesn't have all of those answers right now, but he says in the coming days and weeks, Congress is going to continue to come back to the FBI and other agencies, and they're going to expect that the further they get away from this investigation, the more answers they do have. One concrete point that Congressman Nichole did tell us is right now, the FBI tells lawmakers they don't have evidence that both attacks were related, but that they're continuing to investigate to find a link if there is one. And he said that, look, he is somebody who's from New York. They've dealt with terrorist attacks themselves. I asked him whether he feels generally like Americans are safe, especially at big events like the Sugar Bowl coming up. This was his response to that question.
I come from New York. 9/11 is on many of my constituents' minds every day, especially when we go to big cities like New York, and we're always vigilant. There's a saying, if you see something, say something. That inspires us to be vigilant, to respect law enforcement, to communicate with law enforcement when something's out of place, and we should always continue to do so.
We checked in with the senators also from the state of Louisiana. Both of them were on this call. I want to put out something that Senator Bill Cassidy's office sent to us, which is just his tweet earlier saying that he wants to reassure everybody they will be safe at the Sugar Bowl. He says, we've not forgotten those we lost yesterday, but we cannot live in fear and let the terrorists win. That's why he's going to be at the Superdome, and he wants to thank law enforcement there. So obviously, you know, they are trying to make this push for public reassurance. I'll just add that there is a lot of extra security around here at the Capitol, even before the terrorist attack that happened, because on January 20th, obviously, we have a major event in the inauguration. Between now and then, you're going to see heightened security. There's extra fencing, certainly a heavier police presence as we get closer to January 20th. Here in this building as well.
Yeah, we know a lot of things happening in the coming days and weeks, including, of course, the new Congress, which will be sworn in tomorrow already. Joe, is there any indication that the events of yesterday, there in New Orleans, there in Vegas, even though there is no direct link, is there any indication that will impact how lawmakers are approaching these coming days, these coming weeks?
Yeah, I mean, I certainly think it has colored the way that lawmakers are thinking coming into the new Congress, right? Literally days after a major terrorist attack on American soil, Congress is going to have a lot of authority in that space to act. What I can tell you is what we've seen already. There's some more exerted pressure from allies of Donald Trump to have Congress confirm his nominees more quickly in light of this terrorist attack, especially those nominees in the national security space. So think DOD, think Homeland Security and others. This is what Senator Barrasso says. He says the Senate must confirm President Trump's national security team as soon as possible. Lives depend on it. So you're definitely feeling that sentiment here. And on the Senate side of the building, certainly where they're going to have to confirm those nominees, you're feeling that as well.
All right, Joe Connell live for us there in Washington. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.